Hello everyone. My name is Roel. You guys might know me as King Mentality on YouTube. Haven't uploaded in a while. No reason really to it. Kind of started off with an idea and I just never really followed through on it. And it's something that's always kind of bugged me in the back of my mind, and I've always wanted to kind of come back to it. And I finally had the will to come and do it again. And lately I've been trying to get my mind right. I guess is the best way to say. Getting a little bit into reading. I've always been into reading, but reading in a new way where I actually try to, kind of sit with the information I receive and try to apply it to my own life. Um, which wasn't necessarily the way I've always been reading. Sometimes I would just read to say I've read, truthfully. As bad as that sounds, it's just the honest truth. And yeah, I guess Stoicism and philosophy have always been my main interests. Um, it's always been something I've kind of been led to, I guess, in a way. I've read a lot of Brian Holiday, probably my favorite author at the moment. A lot of Robert Greene. Love his books. And recently I've been trying to pick up uh, Epictetus' Disclosures. Phenomenal, phenomenal books so far. Well, it's not a book; it's more of a collection of letters that he used to write. Not used to, that he wrote in the past. Excuse me. And something about this first, I guess, letter in the book really stood out to me, and I kind of wanted to make a video on it. Maybe it'll reach someone out there that might need it, and for myself, being able to reflect on it. I guess this is my way of sitting with what I've read and really reflecting on it and taking it in. But the first chapter, or first letter, excuse me, is titled About Things That Are Within Our Power and Those That Are Not. And the main concept from this letter is discussing the faculty of reason, which is, as Epictetus describes it, is the faculty that kind of is above all faculties because I'm not really sure how to say it, but I guess explaining it would be the best way for me to articulate my thoughts. But it's basically the ability to use impressions in a way to reflect on certain things. And that might be a really crappy, I'm going to try my best not to cuss, but a really crappy way of describing it. But it's kind of how I've personally internalized this, information. And to kind of give you a better idea, he kind of describes, when speaking, I have the book right here, so I'm going to kind of read off some things. But, when he describes grammar, right? Grammar we use to communicate. You put letters together to form words, and these words typically communicate a specific message, whether you're persuading someone or just informing someone about really anything, right? And, what is in the book really kind of stood out to me. He says, grammar will tell you what letters you ought to choose, right? Because the letters you choose form the words, which form the message you're trying to communicate. But, grammar itself, these letters, these words themselves will never ever tell you who to communicate to, what to communicate. Give me a second to kind of gather my thoughts. Yeah, in a sense, it's kind of like it will never tell you to write to a friend, to write to your newsletter, to write to your email subscribers. It'll never tell you that grammar itself, even though those are the tools you use to actually communicate, right? And that's something I thought was really interesting. And he says the faculty of reason is what urges you to write to your friend, to write to your boss, to write to your family, whoever you're truly trying to communicate to. And man, it kind of really sat with me a little bit, and it's true, right? And diving more deep into it, not with just grammar, but the main one that people thought was a little controversial was I'm going to read it straight from the book. For what else is it that tells us that gold is beautiful? For the gold itself doesn't tell us. It is clear then that this is the faculty that has the capacity to deal with impressions. Man, it's that I kind of sat with this idea, specifically with this gold one, discussing, when you look at gold itself, if you grab a gold chain, if you grab a piece of gold, a gold watch, a Rolex, whatever, if you just stare at it, it'll never tell you that, the gold, it sounds silly, but the gold itself will never tell you that it's valuable, right? If we had no knowledge on the value of gold, we would just look at it and be like, okay, it looks shiny, right? But it's the impressions, or I guess the value sometimes of others, that really give gold its value. It's not the gold itself; it's the impressions that we put on it. Is the best way for me to put the value that we put on it. And Epictetus really says that it applies to pretty much every other single faculty. Excuse me. And it's true, right? And specifically nowadays, this was written. Not sure exactly when it was written, but a long time ago. I can say that, and I think it's just so important in today's day of age, especially with social media, and a lot of impressions are kind of forced upon us, or like shoved in our face, I guess, using social media. And a lot of people get together and use themselves as a collective to try to force impressions onto people, whether it's fear, whether it's maybe stocks, or meme coins you've seen lately. um they're kind of taking the power of having your own impression on things and putting your own values on different ideas and different things. And it's interesting reading this and really sitting back and wondering, what sort of impressions I have on certain things that are really mine, and what sort of impressions that were, I guess, manipulated is a word I would say. I've been manipulated to believe or to think in a certain way, or to value certain things in a certain way that I truly don't value. Uh, this might be a really silly example, but for example, like Pokemon cards, right? I have one right here. The reality of this is, it's a piece of cardboard, right? It really is not anything. But as a collective unit, people will hype it up and list these things for a certain amount of money, which will give it a certain value. But in reality, is it truly valuable to me? Is it a real asset to me? Is it really something that propels me forward? I would say no. And obviously that could change and differ from person to person, but it's a lot of me yapping. But I kind of wanted to get this idea out and kind of, maybe share it with others. Maybe somebody else will run into this video. Most likely not, but hey, you never know. And if you watch this, I'd like to give out action items for my videos, I guess, if I'm going to create videos. And the action item I would give you is to kind of really sit back, maybe pick one thing, maybe something that immediately pops into your mind, and really ask yourself if you truly value this, and if the value you give it was chosen by yourself, or was it pushed upon by society using social media, or just other people, sort of trying to manipulate certain ideas and things. Feel free to leave a comment below if you kind of thinking of an idea of what I've discussed here for the action item. Feel free to drop a comment saying I sound dumb, if you think I sound stupid, if you think I'm not really making any sense. But again, I just wanted to sit down and kind of discuss this in a way, and hey, maybe we can have some sort of discussion about this. And yeah, I mean, if you think this is a cool video, drop a like. You don't have to subscribe, but it'd be cool. And I look forward to recording some more of my thoughts. I hope you guys have a great day, and keep thinking.